Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. So I have gathered some new books within the last couple months. So I wanted to give you all a little book haul. Now I do have a good amount of books to go through. So I'm gonna try to make them quick. Because I know everybody likes those more short-ish videos. But I do have a good amount. I was thinking about waiting to make the video until another box comes in, but I figured I could save that till later. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first book that I wanted to show off was the Dragon Bone Chair, which is from the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series by Tad Williams, and this is a broken binding edition, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So like that is the front cover. It's got a sword on the side, sprayed edges. The inside of this book has, just the hardcover itself is gorgeous, and it's got some beautiful, like when you open it up, beautiful pictures. And I guess this is a very long, like it's not a long series, it's just thick. So it's supposed to be 3 books, but Broken Binding has decided that because the 3rd book is pretty decent size, that they're gonna cut it into 2 books. So I'll be getting the next one here soon, and then I'll get the 3rd one in December and January, since they split the 3rd one into 2. So it'll be a part 1, part 2. But this is just absolutely gorgeous. I will read the synopsis if people don't know what this is about. I've heard that this is a really, really good series. To be honest, I'm not even sure like when it came out. Okay, so this is an old one because it came out in Great Britain in 1989, and then it's gotten a few renditions, or like it was published in paperback in 2016, and then this edition that I have was published in 2024. So, but here is the little synopsis for the first book of Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn by Tad Williams. Kitchen boy Simon is bored, restless, and 14 years old, a dangerous combination. It seems, however, that his life has just taken a turn for the better when he's apprenticed to his castle's resident wizard. As Simon learns to read and write under Dr. Morgane's tutelage, forces greater than he could possibly imagine are gathering, forces that will change Simon's life and his world forever. Following the death of good King John, Osten-Ard is plunged into civil war as his sons battle for control of the fabled Dragonbone Chair, the country's throne and symbol of its power. Simon is forced to flee the only home he has ever known, a journey that will test him beyond his worst nightmares. So, pretty vague synopsis, but I've heard this is one of the best fantasy series that you could read. It's one of the classics, I guess you could say. So I'm super happy to have this on my shelf, and I can't wait to get the rest of them. I am excited to obviously read more and more fantasy. The next book I have to show off is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang, or Wong. So this, she originally published, she indie published, but then she got picked up by Del Rey, I believe it is. And so this is the traditionally published book. So I'm super excited to read this. I The first book I read by her was The Sword of Kaigan, and it was one of the best books so far that I've read this year. I think ML Wong is a phenomenal writer, and I am super excited to just dive into this book, because, you know, how she writes her characters, how she writes her world is just fantastic. And it's not like too long. It's got the red sprayed edges, so I'm super looking forward to this, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. The next book I got is the second book in, oh, I forget what it's called, but it's The Throne of Secrets by Carrie Mansicalco. So this is the second book to Throne of the Fallen. And so this is a romantasy book. This deals with, I think it is a spin-off from her first series, The Kingdom of the Wicked Kingdom, or Kingdom of the Wicked. The Kingdom of the Wicked is what it is. And I absolutely loved that series. It was phenomenal. So when I saw that you could pre-order this one, I went ahead and did it, because I haven't read the first one yet, but I like Carrie Mansicalco's writing. And I really enjoyed being in this world in her first series, so I know that I'm going to be excited to read in the world again with this series. And I think it's only 2 books, so after I get done with these, I'll be excited to see, like, if she stays in the world and what she does next. But I had to get it just because, you know, love the writing, love this, and I'm super excited. And I think this series deals with envy. I'll find out. I don't remember. I think it's envy. I could be wrong. So I'll find out, and don't worry, there will be a review. I don't know if I'll marathon these and then do a full review, or if I'll do like one and the other kind of thing. So, but you'll see it. The next book I got, it's more of a keep on my bookshelf, open it when I need it, but I might also like just read it to read it, because, you know, it's a nonfiction. It's really interesting, and I am kind of like into all of this right now, which, I mean, right now I'll be into it probably for the rest of my life, but it is The Holistic Guide to Wellness, Herbal Protocols for Common Ailments. So basically this has like all kinds of different like chronic diseases or things that happen, and it gives you different ways to treat it holistically, without medication, without anything like that. So I think this is very important for everybody to have on their shelf, especially since, you know, everything that's going on with our food, everything that's going on in big pharma, and all that other kind of stuff. And I just think this is very important to have. And I mean, something to really like live by, to be honest. So you can get this anywhere. I got it from Walmart for a really good price. Amazon was kind of expensive. This, finding it at Walmart online was super cheap, so, and I shipped right to my door. So if you're interested, go to walmart.com and pick this up. The next book I got, and it is the third and final book in this John Gwen series. It is The Fury of the Gods, and let me tell you, I know I haven't read any of these books yet. I have not. They are on my TBR. I really need to look through my TBR probably within the next couple weeks and revamp it and change it and get it ready to finish out the year and go into 2025. And these need to be a priority. I've heard phenomenal things about this series. This is a Norse mythology inspired series. And I mean, I've heard it's got great character building, world development, and like this will be the first series I will read by John Gwynne. So if I really like it, I plan to pick up more of his previous works. The next book is An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. This will be the first book that I've read by her. I know she's had some other novels that have come out in previous years, but like for me, I didn't have an interest in them just because it leaned more on the horror side instead of the fantasy side, and this is more leaning on that dark academia side. So I just had to pick it up, especially when people are raving over this. So I am super excited to read this. It's probably going to be pushed up into my TBR just because I need some dark academia in my life. But I am super excited. So let me read the synopsis for you on this. Lennon Carter's life is falling apart. Then she gets a mysterious phone call inviting her to take the entrance exam for Drayton College, a school of magic hidden in a secret pocket of Savannah. Lennon has been chosen because, like everyone else at the school, she has the innate gift of persuasion, the ability to wield her will like a weapon, using it to control others and, in rare cases, matter itself. After passing the test, Lennon begins to learn how to master her devastating and unsettling power. Despite persuasion's heavy toll on her body and mind, she is wholly captivated by her studies, by Drayton's lush, moss-draped campus, and by her brilliant classmates. But even more captivating is her charismatic advisor, Dante, who both intimidates and enthralls her. As Lennon continues in her studies, her control grows and she starts to uncover more about the secret world she has entered into, including the disquieting history of Drayton College. She is increasingly disturbed by what she learns, for it seems that the ultimate test is to embrace absolute power without succumbing to corruption. And it's a test she's terrified she's going to fail. I mean, that just sounds absolutely phenomenal. So I know Halloween is over, but you can't go wrong reading a dark academia at any time of the year. The next book I have to talk about is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is supposed to be a cozy fantasy book, and basically she makes jam out of her little house. She's got a talking plant, books, and she's got a very nosy but sweet neighbor that she, I think, has a little romance with. So this is just supposed to be light and cozy and fun, and this can be read at any time of the year as well. I plan to pick this up here soon because I like, reading some cozy things, especially after some of the dark stuff that I read. It's nice to read something a little lighter. And this is just, I had to get it. It purple sprayed edges. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't think anything, no, there's nothing on the naked hardcover. But I mean, why not read a cozy book with jam and a talking plant? Why not? Now, I don't remember if I brought this up in previous book hauls, so I apologize if you've already seen it. I really don't believe I have, but this is called The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. And I mean, I had to get this because of the sprayed edges. Like, the sprayed edges are absolutely gorgeous. I believe this is a Greek mythology inspired book. I'm pretty positive it has to do with oh, it's definitely Hades. It has to do with Hades. It does not say who the main character is, but I believe it's a girl and she deals with Hades. I think it is a little bit of a romance, but I'm not sure if it's with Hades or if it's with somebody else. It looks like it takes place in the modern era. So I'll go ahead and read you the synopsis. I've never been favored by the gods. Far from it, thanks to Zeus. Living as a cursed office clerk for the Order of Thieves, I just keep my head down and hope the capricious beings who rule from Olympus won't notice me. Not an easy feat, given San Francisco is Zeus's patron city. But I make do. I survive. Until the night I tangle with a different god. The worst god. Hades. For the first time ever, the ruthless, mercurial king of the underworld has entered the crucible, the deadly contest the gods hold to determine a new ruler to sit on the throne of Olympus. But instead of fighting their own battles, the gods name mortals to compete in their stead. So why in the underworld did Hades choose me, a sarcastic nobody with a curse on her shoulders, as his champion? And why does my heart trip every time he says I'm his? I don't know if I'm a pawn, bait, or something else entirely to this dangerously tempting god. How can I, when he has more secrets than stars in the sky? Because Hades is playing by his own rules, and death will win at any cost. So yes, I feel like there's going to be something between the main character and Hades. There's a contest. Like, this is going to be good. And there's so many books, guys, that I need to get to. I can't choose. It's so hard. The next book I have to talk about is The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. This, I was just browsing in one of the bookstores and I saw this and the cover really pulled me in. But then when I read the synopsis, I was like, ooh, that sounds fantastic. And it looks pretty short. It's just it's under 350 pages. So like this, I feel like would be a quick read. And it's like a pretty decent size, book, I guess. I don't know. I guess it's all the same, but it looks bigger to me for some reason. But just in case you haven't heard of this one, here is the synopsis. Once there was a key to elsewhere. For centuries, the Everleys have seen their best and brightest disappear, taken as punishment for a crime no one remembers, for a purpose no one understands. Their tormentor, a woman named Penelope, never ages, never grows sick, and never forgives a debt. Violet Everly was a child when her mother, Marianne, left on a stormy night, determined to break the curse. When Marianne never returns, Penelope issues an ultimatum. Violet has 10 years to find her mother, or she will take Marianne's place. Her hunt leads her into a seductive magical underworld of power-hungry scholars, fickle gods, and monsters bent on revenge, and into the path of Penelope's quiet assistant, Alexander, who Violet knows cannot be trusted, and yet to whom she finds herself undeniably drawn. With her time running out, Violet will travel the edges of the world to find her missing mother and the key to the City of Stardust, where the Everly story began. I mean, not just go on an adventure, possible love interest. I mean, this sounds phenomenal. And I can't get over how phenomenal sounding all of these books are, guys. I really want to read all of them right now, but I can't do that. I have to pick and choose, and it's so hard. The next book I have to show off is Air by Sabaa Tahir. This is her newest one, and I believe this takes her back into fantasy. I don't think the one she released prior to this, it was more fiction than fantasy. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive it was. So this brings us back into the fantasy realm, and Sabaa Tahir is just a phenomenal writer. I read her Ember of the Ashes series, and it was one of the best YA series that I've read, and I absolutely loved it. Really need to reread it at some point. It is phenomenal. So I'm going to read you the synopsis of her new one. This, oh, and the cover is gorgeous, and there's a beautiful map on the inside. I mean, she has just created a whole new world, and I am excited to dive into it. So here is the synopsis. Growing up in the Calgary slums, Oz has seen her share of suffering. An old tragedy fuels her need for vengeance. But is it love of her people that propels her? Until one hot-headed mistake lands her in an inescapable prison where the embers of her wrath ignite. Banished from her people for an unforgivable crime, Saoirse is a down-on-her-luck tracker who uses magic to trace her marks. Destitute, she agrees to hunt down a killer who has murdered children across the Marshall Empire. All she has to do is carry out the job and get paid. But when a chance encounter leads to an unexpected attraction, Saoirse learns her mission might cost her far more than she's willing to give up. Kuel is the crown prince of the empire and nephew of a venerated empress, but he's loath to take the throne when his aunt stepped down. As the son of a reviled emperor, he, better than anyone, understands that power corrupts. When a vicious new enemy threatens the survival of the empire, Kuel must ask himself if he can rise above his tragic lineage and be the heir his people need. And at the top it says, an orphan, an outcast, a prince, and a killer who will bring an empire to its knees. So I think this, I don't know if this is the first in a series, if it is just a novel. So wait to see until I get done reading it to see if there is a cliffhanger at the end to push it into a second book. But I am super excited to read this new novel by Salvatore. Another book that I pre-ordered because of the cover and then the synopsis. I mean, this is The Stars Are Dying by Chloe C. Penaranda, and I apologize if I pronounced the last name wrong. And this is from a Nightfall. It is a Nightfall novel. I believe it is the first one, because at the bottom here it has a little one, but this is the cover. These are the sprayed edges. I mean, and this is the hardcover. Oh, it's gorgeous, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. And I did not know that the hardcover looked like that until I got it. It didn't show you nothing. I mean, this is a sturdy book. And it's got gold inlays on the inside. I mean, it's gorgeous. And this is just over 400 pages, so not too bad. Oh, it's got a black and white picture. It's got pictures inside. Oh, I can't. It's got more pictures inside. Oh, and it's got a pretty map. Here, I'll show you the map. There's the map. Oh, I don't know. Now that I see this, I might have to like, I don't know. But I'll read you the synopsis of this one. This is definitely a romantasy book. I know that for sure. But here's the synopsis. Astrea is a prisoner of her own mind, the past sliding from her grasp like water. But she knows she must escape the cruel arms that hold her captive and find her clouded memories once again. This quest leads her to the Libertatum, a succession of trials hosted by the king in which 5 human lands compete for a cycle of safety from the vampires seeking blood, claiming souls, and savaging after dark. But even winning the Libertatum will not keep Astrea safe from vampires. She's made a bargain with the beautiful and deadly night, who stalks her dreams and haunts her waking hours. He promises to keep her safe, but she knows she cannot trust him, cannot trust his lies, even as she finds herself drawn deeper and deeper into his seductive embrace. Caught between night and her own mysteries, Astraea must decide if winning the Libertatum for her kingdom is worth her life, or if protection and the answers to her past really are her strongest desires. So, cannot wait to read this. I'm pretty positive I already pre-ordered the second book. I have to find out. But this is, I'm excited to read it. I really am excited. So, plus, it's absolutely beautiful. It is a beautifully done book. So the last 3 books I have, I got from the book of the month for October. And so the 3 are The Wild Huntress, The Stone Witch of Florence, and The Dagger and the Flame. The Dagger and the Flame is a fantasy romance book. This one is a historical fantasy book, I believe. And this is definitely a fantasy book, but I don't remember what it is. So I will read you the synopsis of all 3. But I mean, when Book of the Month has fantasy books, I have to get the fantasy books because I am a fantasy reader. I do like to branch out here and there, but it's very, very rare that I branch out. I have other stuff on my shelf, but I'm a fantasy reader, guys, and that is why you come to my channel for all the fantasy recommendations. So here is the synopsis of The Wild Huntress. Every 5 years, 2 kingdoms take part in a wild hunt. Joining is a bloody risk, and even the best hunters can suffer the most gruesome fates. Still, hundreds gamble their lives to participate, all vying for the hunt's life-changing prize, a magical wish granted by the other king. Branwell possesses a gift no other human has, the ability to see and slay monsters. She's desperate to cure her mother's sickness, and the wild hunt is her only option. Gwydion is the last impressive of his magically talented family, but with his ability to control plants and his sleight of hand, he'll do whatever it takes to keep his cruel older brother from becoming a tyrant. Pryderi, is prince-born and monster-raised. Deep down, the royal crown doesn't interest him. All he wants is to know where he belongs. A trickster, a prince, and a wild huntress. They band together against the monstrous creatures within the woods. They have a chance to win. But nothing is guaranteed for all our fair game in love and the hunt. So, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a possible love triangle in this, maybe. Definitely a trial in the hunt, so I'm not sure if there's going to be little tasks or if they're just doing a hunt is the trial, so I'm intrigued to see how this plays out. The next synopsis I'm going to read is The Stone Witch of Florence by Anne Rashi. 1348. Genevieve Discasparo has a gift. By harnessing the hidden powers of gemstones, she can heal the sick. But when word spread of her unusual abilities, she was condemned as a witch and banished. Now, as the Black Plague is ravaging Italy, the same men who expelled Genevieve are begging for her return. Genevieve obliges, assuming the city's leaders are finally ready to accept her unorthodox cures amid a pandemic. But upon arrival, she is tasked with a much different mission. She must use her collection of jewels to track down a ruthless thief who is ransacking Florence's churches for priceless relics. The city's only hope for protection. If she succeeds, she'll be a recognized physician and never accused of witchcraft again. But as her investigation progresses, Genevieve discovers she's merely a pawn in a much larger scheme than the one she's been hired to solve. And the dangerous men behind this conspiracy won't think twice about killing a stone witch to get what they want. So, love the fantasy with historical setting, probably like real historical things going on. So I am super excited to read this. Gotta love a historical fantasy combo. And then the last synopsis is The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. In Phantom, a kingdom of cobbled streets, flickering lamplight, beautiful buildings, and secret catacombs, shade magic is a scarce and deadly commodity controlled by two enemy guilds, the Cloaks and the Daggers, the Thieves and the Assassins. On the night of her mother's murder, 17-year-old Seraphine runs for her life, seeking sanctuary with the Cloaks. Sarah is set on revenge, but are her secret abilities a match for the dark-haired boy whose quicksilver eyes follow her around the city? Nothing can prepare Sarah for the moment she finally comes face to face with Ransom, heir to the Order of Daggers, and Ransom is shocked to discover that this unassuming farm girl wields a strange and blazing magic he has never seen before. As the Cloaks and the Daggers grapple for control of Phantom's underworld, Sarah and Ransom are consumed by the push and pull of their magic, and the deadly spark and terrible vengeance that keeps drawing them back together. So, you got a little bit of a mafia gang kind of thing going on, and I'm going to say kind of like a Romeo and Juliet love story is what it is. You've got magic. I mean, yeah, I'm sold. Absolutely sold. Can't wait to read all of these books, guys. So everyone, those are the books that I have acquired in the last couple months. I'm excited to see what kind of books have you guys gotten in the last few months. Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you've gotten any of these and if any of these sound great to you. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and be good people.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost,